All right, if we could have your attention, please. We are now joined by driver of the number $20 General Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing, Matt Kenseth.
That was a very soothing voice.
Thanks.
You can be a telemarketer if you ever need to.
Oh, thanks. Our second place qualifier today. So Matt won last year's spring race at Bristol from the pole and has 4 victories here. So Matt, just talk a little bit about your lap out there today.
Yeah, it was good. We were, I thought the first round we were pretty balanced. Second round we made some adjustments to try to make it quicker. Just got a little tight, and I kind of missed turn 3 and still had a good lap time, which was encouraging. And then the last round, we just, that was about what we had. I think we had to run a third lap that second round, and that possibly hurt us a little bit. And we just got loose that last round and got everything I thought we could out of it. I didn't think I could get any better lap for what we had. So, we wanted to be on a pole for sure. If you can't be, you certainly, obviously you want to be second, but those 2 pit stalls seem to be always a pretty decent advantage here. So at least we get a good pick and get to start up front.
We'll now open it up for questions. If you have a question for Matt, please raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. State your name and affiliation. We'll start down here in the front with Tucker.
Tucker White, SpeedwayMedia.com. Matt, after practice and qualifying, 3 rounds of qualifying, do you see any impact of the low downforce package at Bristol this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I believe that, aerodynamics come into effect a little bit. As long as the car's moving, the aero matters, and it's actually a pretty fast racetrack. So I think it'll be kind of the same as everywhere else. Obviously, the slower you're going, the less it affects it. But we get some pretty high speeds here, and you certainly want as much downforce as you can. You got some real fast, edgy corners here.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Bob.
Bob Pockers, ESPN. In addition to having good drivers, how does Gibbs put forward at the top 5 in qualifying?
Well, I mean, I always believe it's fast race cars. I think fast race cars always make drivers look better, obviously, and vice versa. So, obviously, we've had really fast race cars since about this time last year. Thankfully, it's carried into this season with this new package. Obviously, feel good about what everybody's doing. We haven't had all the results, but as an organization, as a group, Martin included, all 5 cars have been really, really fast. If one of us misses a little bit, one of the other ones is right up there in the mix to win. So obviously, that's always really encouraging.
Any additional questions for Matt? Okay, we'll take one from Stan over here.
Sorry, Matt.
Hey, Stan.
Stan Creekmore with RPMtonight.com. How close were the setups between all 4 cars?
I have no idea.
So you don't know whether you were totally different in any way, shape, or form?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I mean, I'll probably look later, but I haven't looked yet. I just, we get done with practice, particularly on qualifying day, and we have a pretty thorough debrief. But I don't get into Jason and my engineers' jobs. They got together and figured out what they thought we'd need, and looked at what the rest of the guys were doing, because obviously they're really fast and they work it out. So I honestly really don't know.
Any additional questions for Matt? We'll go over here to Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Matt, as a sports fan, you've seen a lot of different athletes retire, some on their own terms, some not as much, the Favre deal and all that. Obviously, here recently we saw what Kobe did on his last game. Peyton Manning's going to be here. We saw what he did in his last game, which admittedly wasn't a great season, but he was able to finish in a big, strong way. Not that I'm trying to run you out of the sport or anything, but when you look...
You wouldn't be the first one.
When you look at that point, how important is it for an athlete? Maybe the last event isn't your defining moment because you've done other things, but what does it mean to go out on your own terms as opposed to, so many other, especially in this sport, so many other drivers in the sport didn't get to go out on their terms or went out because the teams went away, they didn't have the money or what have you. When you look at that, not only know if you have, what kind of importance or how do you look at that in light of what Kobe's done and Peyton has done?
Yeah, I mean, this could be a really, really long answer. I gotta be totally honest with you, you might not believe me, but I haven't really thought about it that much for myself. just because I feel incredibly good. I'm driving, I think, arguably for the best team in the sport. Love the guys I'm working with. We're still really competitive. So, but just to generalize it, our sport is just so different. I mean, I think you see a lot of people not go out on their own terms because, they keep trying to do it for too long because they can still get a job and they can still get paid and they can get in maybe stuff that's not as good, but somebody's still going to hire them because this sport obviously isn't nearly as athletic as any of those other sports. So your body, you don't have to throw a football 50 yards and you don't have to, be able to dunk the ball and run hard for an hour. You don't have to be able to do that stuff, as you can look around the garage and see there's some people in great physical shape and some that probably aren't in such good physical shape, and both groups win races and win championships. So I think it's a little different. I don't know. I'm thankfully not to that point yet. I think I talked to Jeff a little bit about it. Actually, a year before he retired, he told me that it was going to be his last year, and told me some of the reasons why and some of the things that he felt and things like that behind the wheel. I haven't had any of that yet, so I don't know. But you're right. Very few people get to do it on their own terms. I think first of all, to even be racing at this level is a dream come true. Even though I've been here for a long time, never dreamed in a million years growing up in Wisconsin racing a little late model car we bought for $1,800 on a little local quarter-mile track that I would ever be able to do any of this stuff. So no matter what happens, it's been awesome. But yeah, I think like Jeff's been able to do, and Tony, and there's a few lucky ones that obviously somebody's going to let them race as long as they want because they've earned that and they can kind of do it on their own terms. So I mean, yeah, if you had a choice, that's what you'd want to do.
Well, that's something that realistically, you will probably get that opportunity, most likely, whereas most people won't get that opportunity.
I hope so. I mean, what's really important to me, honestly, is being competitive. I mean, there's some drivers that were just awesome in their day, and I'm not going to say any names right now, but when my wife came in the sport, she was watching and she asked me about a certain driver who was a champion and won a lot of races and was awesome. And one night she came in, she's like, "Why does that guy even race? He sucks." And I'm like, "Are you kidding? He's like one of the best ever." And he probably did it for 6 or 7 years too long because all the new fans, that's what they thought. So for me, I want to go out. Whenever that day happens, I want to be competitive and be winning races, and I'm sure everybody obviously wants that. But I guess that's always been important to me is to be competitive and going out there and being your best every week.
Any final questions for Matt? Go ahead.
I still don't know what setup we had, Stan. Oh, not a follow-up to yours, a follow-up to his. Okay.
Yeah. So, do you think it'll be your wife who gives you the message when the proper time is?
No.
Step from behind the wheel?
No. I think you have me confused with somebody else. No, I mean, Katie's, my best friend, and we talk about a lot of things. I haven't, again, this is turning into a huge retirement topic right now for some odd reason. I'm not sure why. I'm getting a little bit of a complex about it, but we don't really sit and talk about that. I'd certainly talk about her, about everything with her, and certainly she's given me a lot of advice and good advice and kind of plays devil's advocate now and then when it comes to, racing things as well as everything else in life.
We'll take a question back here from Matt.
Matt Weaver, Racer.com. Not a question about impending retirement, but about Ross. He's kind of scaled back a little bit this year, not only on the ARCA side, NASCAR side, but also late models. Can you kind of give us an update on where he's at as far as his career?
Not really. He could probably give you a better update than me. Honestly, I mean, he's trying. He still has aspirations to move up, and he had a couple great opportunities last year, a couple kind of average ones, and he certainly made the most of his opportunity at Joe Gibbs Racing, in the Xfinity car. Got a few other opportunities that went okay. Won that ARCA race in Schrader's car, obviously, and he was hoping we're both hoping to generate some more interest and maybe get some offers and get a ride, but that just hasn't really materialized. So it's certainly not that he doesn't want to be out here and he's not working to try to be out here. Just hasn't really had the opportunities to get in and race any of that stuff this year yet. Welcome.
All right, Matt, thank you very much for your time. Good luck
All right,
this
thanks.
weekend.